Good evening, everyone. I said good evening, everyone. Yes. Got a hot mic here. So my name is Joe Givens, and I'm the chair of COE's Board of Directors. Tonight we are honoring President Maureen Hoyler on the occasion of her retirement. Yes. So we're celebrating not just 10 years of her being the president of this organization, but we're celebrating 42 years of unwavering commitment, visionary leadership, and inspiring tenacity. So we have a few select speakers tonight to help us mark this great occasion. And we will hear from them in just a moment. So as her team was preparing for tonight's celebration, President Hoyler explicitly stated that she did not want any surprises. But after so many years of hard work and dedication, we couldn't just let this moment go without having a few special tricks up our sleeve. So to kick things off, I would ask our AV to roll the tape.
Maureen, congratulations.
Although retirement isn't really the right word, since I don't ever see you not working.
You certainly had a magnificent career.
And we owe you a deep debt of gratitude for all of your hard work.
It's been an honor to serve with you, honestly, to know you, and it's been such a pleasure.
Thank you for all of the work that you have done for so many years, for hundreds of thousands of TRIO students.
Always know from the bottom of your heart that you changed people's families, people's lives.
It is no exaggeration to say that you impacted the lives of literally millions of low-income, first-generation students and helped turn them into college graduates.
Through your work, millions of individuals have been able to transform their lives.
You have been such a mentor and a role model to me, and we promise, the COE family promises that your legacy, yours and Dr. Mitchell's legacy, will carry on.
She was like a bellows, adding air to small sparks to make big fires. She inspired new TRIO professionals and reignited seasoned ones everywhere we went.
Your tireless and selfless efforts have not only helped to change lives, but also establish a lasting legacy in this country.
It's been a great honor for me to work with you over the last almost 3 decades now.
Maureen, you can be proud of the person you are, the work you've done, and the difference you have made.
You pushed us to be innovative, to be bold, and most importantly, to do everything we could to ensure our TRIO students were and are successful.
I will always remember and admire, Maureen, your gifts of probing analysis, of policy expertise, but at the same time, your deeply human approach to things.
You always asked us to ask better questions and challenged our assumptions.
Maureen, you have gone to the mat for TRIO and slapped down some folk on occasion, not literally, of course.
Love following you around all these places and just to see you be there for so many people.
I want to thank you for having the foresight to change the trajectory for resource development.
Muchas gracias. Mahalo. Thanks so very much.
Thank you for your hard work and your effort. TRIO is serving many students in many countries.
Thank you for your leadership and your mentorship and your trust.
Thank you and congratulations for all that you have accomplished.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to have worked with you all these years.
These words seem so inadequate, yet so appropriate. Thank you for changing my life and influencing the lives of thousands of individuals in our country.
Thank you so much for everyone who helped make that moment possible. Now I would like to invite remarks from a dear friend, not only to TRIO, but Maureen personally. Her former roommate, Congresswoman Gwen Moore of Wisconsin.
I do have a speech. And I realized when I landed today that I had not written a speech. So as I was putting these stockings on, they give you a handy little piece of paper. I learned that from Maureen, to be resourceful. You know, I was just sharing with Dr. Mitchum a few minutes ago that this is an end of an era. Also talking to our future president, you're not the president yet, Kim, that we're moving into a perilous phase where we've seen the action of the Supreme Court, the division of the country. But at the point in time, as our very, very beautiful speaker, Ms. Wilkerson, pointed out tonight, people couldn't even vote before 1965. So at the point in time that COE was created and Maureen was involved, it was another era where, even though Reconstruction had failed in a post-Reconstruction era, this was an opportunity to try to build some equity into our society, which was not an automatic thing. Maureen Hoyler, I mean, I heard you guys say that this is the end of her 42-year career. And you know how it is when somebody say what the due date is for a baby. You start counting on your fingers, trying to figure out when they got pregnant. By my count, my daughter is like 53 and a half, and Maureen knew me when I was pregnant with my daughter. So I don't know I don't have any speech, any notes related to the 42 years. I only know about the 54 years that I have known Maureen Hoyler. I met Maureen Hoyler at Marquette University. And I met her at a point in time that the Educational Opportunity Program at Marquette didn't exist, where CEO didn't exist, where the Mid-America Association, or whatever association y'all belong to now, did not exist. Matter of fact, as I was preparing and packing yesterday, one of my kids said, yeah, Maureen went out there to work for COE, didn't you? There was no COE when Maureen came out to set up office. And also, Kim, you know, there was no such thing as, you know, a steady payroll and HR. There was nothing. We just hoping and praying that there would be a next payday. But Maureen Hoyler came out of an era of Catholic workers. Now, in 2023, most of us are pretty skeptical of organized religion because they don't never do what they say they're going to do. No matter who they are, I ain't picking on no particular religion. But people do not live in the truth of their religion. The Catholic worker movement was started in 1933 by Dorothy May and Peter Morin, and they say that the basic principles is you're supposed to live in accordance with the justice and charity of Jesus. And that the key principle was hospitality that you are supposed to serve those people on the margins of society. And that the basic sort of tenets are you're supposed to personalize your religion, that you are supposed to look out for your fellow brothers and sisters, daily works of mercy, and host houses of hospitality. Now, see, that's where Maureen went too far. She did all the rest of these things. It was all, you already would have gotten your place in heaven if you had just personalized this, because you certainly did. You thought educational opportunity was something that low-income, first-generation students ought to have. You practiced it on a daily basis, but when you let me move in with you, Maureen, that you was just going too far. You know, just sort of a manic, you know, partially suicidal type person that you had to live with on a daily basis. Maureen, that was true. You lived up to the true tenets of the Catholic worker, self-sacrificing, and being a sacrificer. You know, another principle was building these communes, helping to build COE into the organization that it is now, with the Mid-America, with the South Eastern region, with all the various regions of COE. That was part of the Catholic anarchism. Now, this was not the kind of the Pope kind of Catholicism, y'all. This was a left-wing revolutionary view of what Catholics were supposed to be doing. And they were supposed to create a society out of the shell. Maureen did all that. I thought of it one day when I was at her church and she was polishing off statues of Jesus. And I thought about, well, you know, it was really dirty. People had not really taken it very seriously as Maureen was taking it. Had me cleaning Jesus. But this non-violent, revolutionary model of what Jesus was supposed to do, Maureen lived that. Unlike most people who call themselves religious people. I mean, she certainly lived, you know, I don't know what her salary is today, but she certainly in the beginning lived the self-sacrifice poverty vow in order to do this work. She wants me to stop talking. I ain't gonna tell all the stories of Maureen, because I got a lot of stories. But I do want you to know that because of Maureen, you know, I was really an at-risk student. Despite what you think of me, how I look in my St. John knit dress tonight, y'all. I didn't even have money for Target clothes back in then. But she took her time with me. She personalized her religion and thought it was important. She was a tutor counselor, and she was somebody that tutored people. I sat many nights with Maureen. She convinced me that I could write. I didn't think I could write, but she convinced me that I could as she sat with me in the wee hours of the morning, just sort of jotting down the thoughts that I had and teaching me that I could put this stream of consciousness into a paper. She was somebody who thought it was important to look out for their brothers and sisters. She was somebody who thought that hospitality was important. And even though I was her roommate and she lived with me and she put up with me, she also was involved in creating hospitality and homeless shelters for women and children in our community. And I lived there too. Yeah, you know, I was Casa Maria. And she is somebody who thought that the hundreds of thousands of students who've matriculated through the TRIO program and have contributed back to our society, and they've become doctors and pharmacists and teachers and politicians, that they deserved this equity. and that it was her job as a Catholic worker to be active, not just to give 12 Hail Marys and whatever you do, but to be actively engaged. I love you, Maureen. I can't believe you retiring, because there's, how in the world do you retire from being someone who has thoroughly embraced the notion of love and social justice? Thank you, Maureen. We will always love you.
Thank you. Got to follow that. So now I would ask Barry Cosgrove to take the stage. Barry pledged $1 million to establish both the Marion Cosgrove and Arnold L. Mitchum and Maureen Hoyler Endowment Fund. He was a student of Marines at Marquette University's Educational Opportunity Program, and he is the founder and CEO of Black Noir Partners, LLC. Thank you.
Good evening. And what a pleasure it is to be here at your program, and most especially to honor Maureen Hoyler. You know, all we hear about these days is AI, artificial intelligence, and ChatGPT, and these massive supercomputers and the programs that they can use to amalgamate published information and rapidly reduce it to a poem, a speech, nonfiction, whatever you want. So I got to thinking, could this chat tool give us a speech about Maureen Hoyler? So I entered into the computer the following. Please prepare a short congratulatory speech about Maureen Hoyler, President of COE in Washington, D.C. And in 40 seconds, it kicked something out. I'll give you some of the excerpts. Today we gather to express our heartfelt gratitude and appreciation of Maureen Hoyler, a remarkable leader who has dedicated her life to expanding opportunities for education and empowering countless individuals to reach their fullest potential as she embarks on a well-deserved retirement. Not bad, right? Goes on. Maureen's journey with the COE in education has been one of unwavering commitment, tireless advocacy, and relentless pursuit of educational equity. Not bad. For many years, she has championed the cause of access to higher ed for all, regardless of their background or circumstances. And it also said, under her visionary leadership, the Council for Opportunity in Education has reached new heights, expanding its reach and influence to ensure that the doors of education remain wide open for those who need it most. Not bad. It certainly grabbed some headlines, because that's all AI can do. But 40 seconds to cover Maureen's 42 years? I don't think so. And there's a reason for that. AI is just like us. It doesn't know what it doesn't know if it's not in the headlines. And worse, AI doesn't know something we all understand. And that is that sometimes you can tell more about a person based on the stuff that isn't published. For example, I know of a student who got an invitation to do an internship here in Washington, D.C. with the House Rules Committee. But the student didn't know anything about what was really involved. It was an unpaying job. The student didn't live in DC, didn't have any friends or family in DC, and didn't even have the money to take a bus there. So the student went to Maureen and said, hey, what do you think I should do? And she told the student, look, go back and figure out in detail all the costs. Don't worry about the rest just yet. So the student did that, came back with all the detail, and Maureen said, you need to do this more rigorously. Think of everything. Will you be able to find a job at night? Because remember, the internship was unpaid. So the student does all this work, comes back, and it was elegant. But unfortunately, it was a balance sheet with nothing but expenses. There was no revenue. So the student figured, well, I'm not going to be doing that this summer. A couple days later, in the mailbox of this student was a check for Maureen Hoyler. And the amount of that check, what do you know, was the exact amount worked out on the balance sheet that she had recommended. Now, Maureen right about now is probably thinking, I forgot about that, or that wasn't a big deal. I haven't forgotten about it. It was a huge deal because I was that student.
Wow.
I'm certain there are hundreds, if not thousands, of students who could match my personal story of Maureen's quiet deeds. But at the end of the day, we're judged by what we do. And I, for one, judge Maureen Hoyler as a spectacular doer with a career of remarkable accomplishment. Maureen is one of the most significant role models in my life, and I know she lives in the lives of many, many others. AI would never know this, but we do. So I thank everyone here for the privilege of joining you and letting Maureen and the world know this on the occasion of her retirement. Please join me in wishing Maureen the very best life can offer and in thanking her for her extraordinary work on behalf of our movement and our country. And to borrow from our keynote speaker, let us also thank her for bringing so much love to our species. Congratulations, Maureen.